Hey, Elizabeth Capoletti, integrative and holistic psychotherapist here, and part of my work involves lots of people helping me and helping the people that I work with. And I recently connected with Tommy, and it was so funny because I have a client I've been working with for some time, and she's been telling me about her awesome trainer, Tommy, and I'm like, it never clicked. And then we connected through another professional, and I was like in session with my client, I was like, wait a second, what's his last name? Clicked. Yeah, so we met and we connected, and you do some awesome work that I would love to share with everybody and learn more myself. Man, we talked, I felt like the hour went by so quickly, but
yeah.
Can you share who you are and the work you do and why we're connecting today?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Tommy Del Favero. I actually have my master's degree in human movement and corrective exercise, but I didn't stop my learning from there. I'm always continuing to look at better ways of being able to assess how someone moves, see how they're moving, do some different tests to see where their body is compressed. And once I know that, I'm able to create programming to get them out of pain. Things like, my back hurts, my hip hurts, it doesn't rotate at all, it's like really locked up. I assess, figure out where they're stuck, unstick them with different breathing patterns and things of that nature to open up that space, and then instantly, boom, get some more range of motion, and then we start strengthening on from there. But Elizabeth and I actually had the pleasure of connecting through another colleague of ours, Dr. Whitney Bolton, who's an upper cervical specialist. And she's been treating me, and she's worked with my family over the years, and we had a great conversation, and she introduced her awesome book that she just wrote, which was super cool. My daughter's in love with it. Oh, she has it memorized, by the way. She sat on the stool in front of the Christmas tree this morning, was like, everybody sit down. Don't be afraid of Daddy Long Legs. They're so nice. They're in the corner looking at you. Like, she go through the whole book.
Oh my gosh.
And she read it, and she brought it, and they read it at school for the whole class.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
I'm
super cool.
Gonna cry right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So the connection's been really fun. But one of the things that we had a great conversation about last week when we had some coffee together, we were speaking about each of our professional practices and how how they intertwine, how they come together. And one of the biggest things that she brought up was the idea of anxiety and stress and all these different things. And that clicked with me right away, because when I'm working with people who have a lot of muscle tension across their bodies,
which for sure happens when we're anxious,
right? And just life is stressful.
Yeah.
We all think we deal good with stress, but some of us carry it up into our necks here. Some of us you just compress, your body compresses itself, the rib cage, the pelvis squeeze it together. And one of the best ways of reducing that stress and that anxiety is by getting yourself grounded. Now that's more than just a cool term or cool word that's on all the Instagram, all the different things right now, grounded. It really is truly about your brain figuring out where it's at in space. If your brain feels like it's off the ground, falling all the time, it's going to constantly be compressed, constantly in stress, fight or flight all the time. So a lot of the drills that I do, once I've tested someone, I figure out which foot they're more grounded to. Well, if they're stuck to the right, then I know I need to help them feel their left foot. So we'll do some different breathing drills and different body position type drills to find those points. And literally you'll see everything being really tight everywhere when I test them from top to bottom. And sometimes you get that left foot to ground, their brain connects oh, I'm on the ground. Boom, 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 boom. It lets go of everything, and everything releases. All their measurements instantly improve. Anxiety level comes down, stress level comes down, because now your body finally feels safe.
It was such a trip, because when we were talking, we kind of talked about that at the end, and the part that I was having suffered so much with my own back, debilitating, immobilizing back pain in my early 20s. I know how much that can impact a person's mental health, right? And so understanding too, and you talked about how there's a lot of people that, when they hit a certain age, 30, 40, they're working out, and then they're in pain, and then they're just in pain for a couple days, and then they'll go do it again, and it's this whole thing, right?
The pain roller coaster.
Yeah, so I was really brought in for that, and understand people come into me and they've got this pain in their body, and it's oh, it's just what I thought I would always have pain. I literally did. I thought that would always be part of it, but with the chiropractic care, with the proper exercises and strengthening, going to a place where I actually feel better at 45 than I did at 25, it's pretty crazy. So we started our conversation there, but then moving in, when you explained what you just explained, I was mind blown.
Man.
Mind blown. Because I know and understand, I used to be a massage therapist, so seeing that connection between the body and mind, and this was 20 years ago, right? So putting my hands on people, I could feel how their week was the moment I put my hands on them, because I could feel where and I could tell if it was emotional or if it was work based on where they were carrying it.
Yeah.
But when you talk about some of the stuff, the way that you did about grounding and all of that stuff, it just brings this whole other level in. And I know we talked about today possibly doing some stuff for me. I feel a little pain in my hip. So I want to make sure that when I'm doing my exercises, I'm doing them right. So that's one reason to go to Tommy, because, you know, when you go to a trainer, awesome that you're going to a trainer, but if you have previous injuries, or even if you don't, like learning how to move with your body. You were talking to me about runners too sometimes, where there was like this, like a shift or something that would, can you explain about that?
Yeah. Let's, I want to take one step back to something you just said.
Perfect. Yeah.
We think about this perspective of I'm going to be in pain every time I run. Every time I lift, I rest for 2 days, and then until it goes away a little bit, and then I go do it again. Like, it's this perspective. You expect that, and if that's what you expect, then those will be the results that you receive. So that perspective is the box in which you like process all your information. And that was the box that you had initially.
Yes.
And then as you've met different professionals and learned all these different perspectives, and you did the biggest step of adopting those principles and taking your box that was maybe this big and expanded a little bit when you met the first person, then the next person, the next person. Now you have this new perspective of how all those things, all these moving parts work together. And that's one of, I think, our big goals that you and I talked about, was about the goal is like shift the perspective of expecting pain when you move. Because like God made us to like move. Like He didn't make us to like sit still and not do anything and to heal, right? Our bodies are designed to heal themselves if you give them the right input, if you give them the right resources, the things that it needs to, like, you know, whether it's nutritionally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all those different types of things. So that, I just wanted to make that little point there about the goal is to shift the perspective.
I love that because it's so true that it's like that which gets fired together gets wired together. And I remember I was like learning all this stuff about manifestation and like my thoughts and how my thoughts affect like what happens. And Dr. Whitney did that whole onboarding thing, and she talked about like the more you think about the pain, the more your brain says, oh, you want me to think about that? You want me to think about that more? And it literally causes more wiring. And when I was in a lot of pain, that's all I would do is like, I mean, I admit it, like, oh my gosh, my back, oh my God. And my husband was like, dude, you gotta stop talking about it. And I was like mad, but then I was like, oh, he's right. And actually, as I started to shift out of that place, it's amazing how much that shifted for me. Not just, I mean, there was also, it's almost like if I change that perspective, that like that change is possible for my body and not to be in that place versus complaining all the time, holy crap, huge change can happen. Also, like when you're in that place, like and you're very boxed in, it's almost like you're not looking for other opportunities for anything because you've already made the decision. Like I can remember when somebody said, oh, your body's made to heal. Well, when I'm going to the doctor, is like the Western medicine, there's a place for that 100%. But when they're telling me like, oh, sorry, this is the way it is, it's not going to heal, diet can't change this. I mean, I just went through that with my daughter. You know, unfortunately, my little one, she's super picky, so getting her off of gluten and dairy would be really, really challenging. But I told the ENT, I'm like, I know if I took her off of that, it would change. And she's like, no, I don't think so. But with my oldest daughter, when we did that, her tonsils were like touching. We stopped, and she was making some weird sound. We stopped the gluten and dairy, which was really challenging, but it all went away. You know, we went on, stuff changed after that, whatever, but the point is like our body is made to heal, and the things that we do and the way that we like overcompensate with our body and start doing things, which I love is the piece that you talk about. That anyway, I said a lot of stuff, so you go ahead.
So I'll say that's like that inflammatory response to that stuff. So like saying like, oh no, like you're just stuck, you're like, this is what it is. I've heard crazy stories of women that were in their they're going through menopause. This lady used to run and do all these things, but she eventually got so compressed. When I say compressed, I mean across her ribs, her pelvis, like her leg bones wouldn't rotate anymore, so she's like moving a lot more side to side, always in back pain and things of that nature. When she went to the doctor and said like, hey, I'm having these problems, I want to get back to running, the doctor's like, oh no, like you're in menopause. You know the best thing you can do? You should only, this is going to sound funny, you should only stand up long enough to be able to like cook something or like do dishes, and then you should sit. She's like, you know what? I have this really good stool that you can carry with you, and you can just open up and sit down whenever you start feeling that back pain again. And my jaw dropped, and I was like, no, it was like, this is the joke part, right? She's like, no, this practitioner, this doctor told me this. I'm like, that couldn't be further from the truth. As women in particular, as they get older, women are like these diesel engines. If you look at the like endurance athlete like rosters, the women that are doing Ironman distances and all these different things, like all these big long ultra marathons, it gets deeper and deeper as they get older. As you get older, because women are like workhorses, like they're built to like survive and endure and just like do really hard mentally things and spirit and like challenging things, mentally and physically challenging things. Like, are they stronger than a man to do something like right now? No, but they can endure longer. So that's why like endurance stuff is like you see a big rise in those groups, like older women. But I know it's stuff like that.
But the crazy thing, I just have to say for a second, it was so funny because you said something like you said prick, but you said practitioner. It said prick practitioner. It feels like I want to call the guy a prick. But when somebody in a white coat tells you something, like you have 3 months to live, or this is something you're gonna live with forever, or just accept this, like, oh my gosh, like the power that person has when they tell you that, if you believe that, it's kind of cray. So yeah. Like, but I'm telling you that you can change some of these things, like, and your mind frame about it is really, really important. So don't buy the BS, okay? Because I have heard of people being healed from different things and making changes, and even just like the stuff that I've talked a lot on here about too is that, the body-mind connection and how trauma impacts us and how illness, I mean, I've had an autoimmune disease and I know that was brought on by trauma and stress. Like, I know that. I literally know the moment when I was like, I'm just going to suck this up and deal with it. And it was like, oh my gosh. But illness started happening in my body, right? And so, like, I just love the idea of being able to create change and healing. And I even coming to the perspective of, like, maybe we can talk a little bit more about the anxiety for a moment, and talking about how, if you can elaborate a little bit more about how you might work with somebody who has anxiety, and like, because this isn't necessarily like, oh, do this exercise and then you'll be healed. Like, this is why somebody would reach out to Tommy and to work with you specifically, understanding the changes that happen in our body and what we're carrying, and how it's like a negative feedback.
It's a feedback loop, yeah. The thought I was going to say, I'm always like listening, like, say that. Yeah. Thinking about the doctor thing, you have to remember that the words you listen to, your input is like what you listen to, what you see, what you read. That's the input your brain is getting in. And when you hold certain input higher than, the average person, like a doctor in the white coat, you're like, whoa, like this person way up here said this, like, oh, that's it, you give up. But if you are able to, you have to think of all the words that you hear, the things you take, and these are seeds. And it depends on what kind of soil you have, that those seeds grow in different times. So those words are all going to come to you from all directions, right? But you get to choose which ones to water. So if you choose to water the seed that's like, oh, I am hurt, I'm never going to recover, what am I going to do? I can't do this, I can't do that, no more running, no more swim, whatever. You start going through that loop, yeah, dude, you're done for that growth. You're just dumping water on that seed, it's going to grow. But if you take that input, okay, yeah, that person said that, but I look other places, I talk to the practitioners, read different things, and start gaining my own knowledge. Then you start realizing, like, oh, like, there is a possibility I could get out of some anxiety and stress by trying this, breathing differently. So, like, the association you have, the things that you put around you, definitely 100% will help grow those seeds more than the ones that are telling you that, a lot of things that aren't really necessarily true. So when I think about people, it's like when I look at someone's body and I see that they're very compressed, again, I'm talking like around the rib cage, the pelvis, their hip joints, their feet, whatever. This is like a global tension that they're feeling because of the stress that's coming from their brain. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, your muscles are slaves to the nervous system, meaning that your muscles don't have muscle memory. Everyone says muscle memory. It's not muscle memory. The muscle just gets told what to do from your nervous system. It's like electrical power plant, sends the wires down, it chooses to turn this thing on and not this one, so you get messages here but no messages there, and this is where these compensations come from. So if you can give your body good input, you say something like, with movement, there's like nutritious movement. A nutritious movement is something that's like incorporating the things that you need. It's like your diet's missing, I don't know, internal rotation, it's missing grounding pattern, it's missing these nutritious things. So if you give your body the new input, your brain's like, oh yeah, like I didn't even realize it wasn't doing these things. And it starts understanding how to turn on different things. But like you mentioned earlier, how like the wiring will go more and more in that pain. Every time I do a lunge, my knee hurts. Every time I run, my knee hurts. Whether you say you can or you can't, you're right. Like your brain is literally what drives everything. So if your brain is keep being told that you're hurt, that you're in pain, that you're not going to get any better, you're right. If you tell your brain like, hey, I can do this, if I implement this strategy, this program that makes sense, this trusted practitioner I have, that we built a relationship, I understand what they're there for, I can see their heart and what they're doing, I understand that they are truly here to help me and not just like sell me a product for the sake of selling me, then moving on to the next person. when you have that, that puts your brain at like an ease and at peace, because suddenly there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It was for a long time for everyone that's been in some kind of a pain loop, like, this is dark. There's no light. Maybe a speck far away, but you can't even barely see it. But once you build those relationships with practitioners and you start seeing that you start building trust with these people, then it's like, oh, like, I inched closer. Like, it used to be hard to put my shoes on, but like, now it's like easy to put my foot here. Like, that's a big win. I didn't go run a marathon, but it's like, oh, I can bend over and put my sock on. It doesn't hurt anymore. I can get up and down off the chair without having someone help me up. It's like these little wins that you get. But it is all built around your perspective and your mindset. So when people work with me, I tell them that, like, listen, we're going to have to probably change the way you've been thinking. You've probably been told one thing, but I need you to listen. I'd love to do the teaching side of it. I want people to understand not just what to do because of the sake of I said to do it. I want you to understand the why behind it. Why am I doing the drill with my feet like this and breathing this way? Well, because that opens this and that closes that, and that's what you need because of this and that. Oh, great. Like, I want it to make sense. Because if it makes sense to you, then you are going to be more apt to do that at home on your own because you know you feel a difference. So it's like, Tess, do this. Like, oh, it doesn't move. Okay, lay on your back, do this drill. Whoa, it got way better. Boom, light bulbs on. Your brain's like, yes, we can do this. It made a difference. Let's keep doing it. And then that's how you get people's measurements and things to improve really quickly because they have bought into the idea that there's a possibility of them getting better and getting out of pain.
Okay, so let's say there is somebody who they know that they're feeling a lot of like tightness in their body because of, let's say they can say, okay, I'm stressed. I have a lot of stress and I can feel it in my body. If somebody's watching, obviously, like, would that be a reason for somebody to come to you, and or is there something maybe that you can even guide somebody with? Again, I know it's not like you're gonna be like, here, do this and then that'll be fine, but is there something that you can help people to be aware of and connected with within their body to be mindful of, or like something that they can do, or something that would, I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. So if I had to choose two things to think about, like super general, super basic, like everyone should think about, no matter you're the middle-aged person working on doing marathons and Ironmans, or just the normal person, average person, going to work, coming to bed, coming to work, going to bed, back and forth. A lot of us are sitting a lot, but at the end of the day, the biggest things that we need to think about, number one, is the way that we breathe. And number two is the way that our feet interact with the ground. So if we want to talk about breathing super simply, when we breathe, the biggest thing that people are not good at, no one is not good at inhaling. We're all good at breathing air in, but what we're less good at is breathing things out. So our exhalation muscles end up being very, very weak because, like, you're taking 20, 30,000 breaths a day, and like, you're doing it wrong 20,000 times over and over and over again. So your body just gets driven. All the wires, all the electricity are going to making you continue to breathe that way. So an incorrect breathing pattern, that we don't want to do is when we're breathing, is your rib cage moving up and down like this. When it's moving up and down like this, if I say take a deep breath in and you look like this in the mirror, that means like you're using all your neck and all the like stress muscles, your apical muscles up high here, your traps, your all these different muscles up here that you're straining to suck air in, then air just like barely comes out. So when I'm thinking about breathing in, number one, your goal, if you really want to be a big shot, is like your goal is to breathe through your nose like all day long. You should only be breathing out of your mouth when you're like working hard. You have three options. Breathing nose to nose means you're relaxed, you're chill, you're ready to go, you're calm. Anxiety low, stress low. Nose to mouth, I'm moderately working, I'm doing something, okay, great. Then mouth to mouth is like I'm sprinting up the hill. Okay. And if you get to mouth, great, you worked really hard. Your goal is to get back to nose to mouth, get back nose to nose. The quicker you can make those transitions, the ready you are to do it again. But if you're sitting there panting, breathing up and down, like your recovery is going to be way slower. But if you pause, give yourself a full exhale, and then allow for a full inhale, that would make a big difference.
I just have to say, it's so cool to hear that coming from you, doing the work that you're doing, because I remember when I was first starting to learn how to do breath work, and I remember meeting with somebody, and I didn't know the person, and I was sharing what I was doing. She was like, breath work, why do I need to learn how to do that? Don't I breathe all day long? And I was like, I just felt like I got slapped in the face, but I was like, Yeah, but you just kind of answered it,
Yeah.
right? And one of the things I talk about too is the innervation, or how your lungs are connected to the different parts of your nervous system, and up here is connected to the sympathetic branch, that part that is like stress. So we can actually, if we start breathing like that, can cause anxiety in our body, and so
100%.
we could be doing that all day long. So
you're just driving more and more sympathetic. And there's even, I would say, if we had to think of like, how do I correct that? So that's like the system that's going on. Sympathetic driving stress. We want to get parasympathetic kick back on. You're in control of that all day long. You can literally turn the switch forward or pull the switch back on your own with your mindset, with the way that you're breathing. So when you breathe in, your goal will be to take the tongue, place it on the roof of your mouth, and slowly breathe in through that nose. And the reason I say nose is where you want to breathe in with. One is because it's like little tiny tubes compared to your mouth, like a big wide straw. Narrow straw will make more pressure and it'll push the air to the bottom of your lungs while your platelets are made. And it's going to allow you this full expansion of your rib cage. So tongue is on the roof of your mouth as you slowly breathe into your neck. If you place your hand on your neck as you breathe in, you shouldn't feel like your neck bulging and getting tight. None of that. You should be super calm. You breathe in, you pause, and just let that air sit in that you've just breathed in. It's hanging out, chilling, it's spreading things out, getting in all your nooks and crannies. And then when you exhale, you're gonna put your tongue on the back of your bottom teeth, like you're fogging up a mirror, fogging up your glasses. Until there's nowhere left when you pause. And then breathe in through your nose again, and you'll have a big yawn. You'll have much more of expansion, because if you fully and completely exhale your ribs, then your lungs are like empty. So you have a big room to expand. But if you're only exhaling a little bit, your lungs are this big and you're breathing in and out from here. Going here. But when you fully exhale, your lungs, like, you can think of them like shriveling up, like the bag empties out. And you get this big expansion. That expansion should not be up into your shoulders. If you put your hands on your ribs, like, it's good to like connect what's going on in your body, and sometimes you're just not good at sensing it. So you need like other pieces of like reference points to feel that. So if you place your hands on your rib cage, that's a really good drill. Throw your hands on your ribs like this, and you like, if you take do an exhale to start, and I want you to feel the heels of your hands bringing your ribs in, like you're folding up, like you're playing the accordion. Exhaling as you fold those ribs in, your fingers will get a little bit closer to each other. Now hang out there for a moment, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and slowly inhale. Your goal is to breathe into these hands where your hands are against your ribs. So slowly inhale to there. And as you do that, your fingers should have grown away from each other across the room. Pause there, exhale again. That mouth and sigh. You're thinking about sighing twice as long as you just inhaled. Pause, and slowly inhale again. Pause there, and that long sighing exhale again. So the better you get at exhaling, the more fully and completely you exhale, the more fully and completely you can inhale. So you're creating more space. This idea of like yoga talks about this belly breathing thing. If my ribs literally sat still, and all that I did was made my belly move back and forth, that's going to drive me more into this kind of extension pattern where it's like into your lower back and it's like moving up and down. Like, will your belly expand? Yeah, it will expand to a certain degree, but it shouldn't just be like a big belly moving and your ribs sitting still. Okay. Like, your ribs are supposed to be flowing back and forth, the bones in your skull, your ribs, your pelvis, your feet, like all the little pieces are supposed to be moving back and forth, coordinating with all your diaphragms. Awesome. So that's a really simple thing. So your thought is tongue on the roof of the mouth, breathing in through the nose with a calm, relaxed neck, no tension. If at 4 seconds it tightens up, then just breathe in for 3. Stop before you start feeling that tension build up. And then tongue on the back of the bottom teeth. This is like parasympathetic, good down charge right now. Tongue on the back of the bottom teeth as you open your mouth and sigh. And that's about a sigh. It's not a blow the birthday candle out kind of breath. Open your mouth and sigh. Fog those glasses up as long as you can, and that'll bring your ribs down. It'll make your internal obliques kick on, and it'll stack your ribs and pelvis back to where they're supposed to be.
Okay, so that was step 1. Step 2, the grounding. Can you talk about
that? Okay, grounding. When we think about grounding, we think about our feet. busting them out here. We got our ball of our big toe, our little toe, and our heel. So this triangle right here, boom, 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 these three pieces is where you want to be feeling balanced when you're walking around, standing up. Even when you're sitting down, you should be feeling that. I have clients who are like compressed everywhere. And when I'm like, dude, like I watch them, like, oh, I feel like I have issues with my balance. Like I'm always stressed out. And I watch them stand and they're, you know, kind of wiggling around. When they sit down, their heels are floating up off the ground. Like their heels never touch the ground. They never feel it. They're always shoved forward on the balls of their feet. They don't feel like they're 3 points. So when I say like ground your feet, some people think like, oh, my toes, I gotta like push my toes in the ground. But if you were to push your toes into the ground, like scrunch them up like this, it actually pulls the balls of your feet off the ground. So you end up with this kind of a thing. So you actually want to feel the ball of the big toe, little toe, and the heel, and you want to feel your whole foot like spread out. It's relaxing into the ground. And now those 3 points, we can find those while you're in a seated position. While you're standing in line at the store, you're like, oh, where's my weight? Oh, it's only over here. Let me shift it over. Whoa, it's all on my toes. Let me find my heels. Whoa, whoa. Okay. Boom. Find those 3 points in each foot. Just stand there and then breathe. In through your nose, out from the mouth. That's like a really simple, easy way to start. Just like you can, because you want to make this so it's like bite-sized things you can do in your day.
Sure.
I don't need to give you more things and more things on your plate.
Yeah.
It's like just have more awareness to how you breathe and how you're standing.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And these are all like, when we talk about somatic practices, these are somatic practices, somatic kind of meaning of the body and in the body. And so just doing those things, I think would be a really great thing for you to practice. I've been talking about doing the breath work and stuff. I love that you added in the tongue stuff because I hadn't even thought to mention that. And I don't think that I even learned that. So that's really cool to add that in. And as you saw me yawning, that happens almost every time I start doing that. And it's, yeah, that parasympathetic, calm, peace part of the nervous system coming on board, right? Like, and think about, and these are good things even when you're trying to rest or go to sleep, like taking some of those deep breaths. I've had people that we do the hypnosis and it's like, I fell asleep before, I feel like I'm out before I even hear anything. It's because the big deep breaths that we're taking before we even get started with it. So it's really cool. So I'm so grateful that you shared that.
Oh yeah, thank you. And you said the thing about like how the sympathetic wire and nervous system is like up top. So it makes like, I've understood that, but like that way that you said that is like a perfect description of it. You took your breath from, even if you don't even realize you're stressed from just day to day, you probably have more of activation through here. And what I just did with a couple of drills is we took it from here down to like here. So it's like T1 to T4 are your pump handle ribs. They go front to back like this. And then T5 to T12 are your bucket handles. They like open out. So really your rib cage is opening front to back and sideways like this when you're breathing. But if you're stressed out, it's just going up and down. So by bringing that awareness of those muscles and the firing down here, that like dropped you into parasympathetic so fast.
I just thought of something too, like having been a massage therapist too and doing this work, like if we're doing that and activating those muscles all day long so quickly, like thinking about the fatigue in the muscles that start to like, because I know a lot of times when people are stressed out, it's like all up here in the shoulders. I mean, everybody carries it differently, but that's one common thing is like the shoulders and the neck and all this stuff. And I'm thinking about the way that you were describing, don't do this. I want you to breathe like this. Like when you're taking breaths like that. I mean, if I were to do that enough times, like I'm going to be sore. I'm going to be sore.
It's like, why is my neck always sore? Why do I have like no rotation or no flexion extension on my neck? And like if people who have shoulder issues, like, oh, my shoulder's always killing me. It almost always is. It's predominantly a rib cage issue. Okay. You've breathed so up top so much that these ribs are closed so your arm doesn't like rotate in anymore. Sometimes that's happened for so long that now you're extending, like the back frozen is like contracting like that. Yeah, like frozen shoulder stuff is exactly that. The back of the rib cage is squished, so now your arm doesn't go this way. Like you don't have this, you don't have that, like your shoulders are stuck because your ribs aren't expanding and contracting as you breathe. They're just stagnant. They just sit still. No blood flow, no lymphatic drainage, no fresh oxygen to the nerve. So the nerve is always mad and just like, shut it down. We're not using this anymore. And that's when the frozen shoulder thing happens. Yeah. And it's like a stress related thing. Oh, it's a physical thing. Like it's a physical, mechanical like thing that's stuck. Yeah. But it's a result of breathing patterns and compression. That's just kind of the point where like it just stuck. And I've helped a lot of people with frozen shoulder open those things kind of up.
I love it that like we're able to come together, you doing the body work stuff and me doing the mental health stuff, but also bringing in the somatic piece of being able to talk about some of these things and how it shows up, because I know there's a lot of people walking around out there that don't even realize that they're stressed or anxious and carrying all this stuff in their body. But some of the places is like looking at the pains or the discomfort that you have in your body and understanding that, yes, there could be a physical origin. Maybe you hurt yourself, maybe you fell and you did something weird, but also maybe there's an emotional component. And I think that that's really hard sometimes for people to really understand. I know there was a time where I was working with somebody and she had a lot of nausea coming up. Like she felt so nauseous, like she's gonna throw up because there was some stress going on at school. And it was really hard for her to see and pair that I'm having this reaction in my body because of what is happening for me emotionally. And to understand that all of these things in our body, like it's all connected. So whatever is going on for you emotionally can 100% impact you physically. And it's beautiful. Like I'm doing this training for yoga training very slowly at my own pace with everything else I'm going on, but this whole somatic piece, because I know that even when we start to move, and maybe you could share what this is like for you too. I remember when I was a massage therapist, I'm talking about you might work on an area and somebody just starts crying and it just starts bawling because you're like opening up a space where there has been like a lot of pain that they've been carrying. And I know for like yoga, talking about hip openers and stuff too, where we can carry a lot of trauma and stuff in our hips. And so I'm really fascinated by that because I want to help people obviously like emotionally and mentally, but also to be able to help them with the physical stuff, but also unlocking the emotional stuff by doing the physical work.
Yeah, they like intertwine so 100%. Closely.
Yeah.
So it's
I have chills right now.
Yeah. So it's like if you think about like, oh man, my whatever, let's say, oh man, my knee really hurts. My knee is just always a problem every time I run. No matter what I do, pain. I keep thinking about it. Yeah. Oh, but hey, I saw this Instagram about this cool stretch. And I'm just going to stretch, and then it feels better for a minute, comes right back. It's like it's that pain roller coaster again. Mm-hmm. It's like if you physically try to address everything, will you get some results? Sure. I do a lot of that, obviously, in my field. But there's certain things that are just like stuck. Where like, I can give you this stretch, I can give you this breathing drill, and it can get better, and we can improve it, like inch it forward a little bit. But when you add in the component of the emotion, the mental side of it, it's like snap the finger, like unlock. All the physical stretches you want to do to fix your hamstring or your knee or whatever, if it's like been a consistent thing and you have good practices that you're using to improve, it's very likely there's some kind of emotional component in there. So these emotions get stored up in our fascia that's our plastic wrap that's around all those muscles, and it's not even necessarily associated. You know, this trauma you had when you were a little kid, like you didn't fall on your knee when you were a little kid, but for some reason this trauma is spaced like in your hip or something. It's like not directly correlated, but it's just stuck in there. And that means that your nervous system is going to either ignore that or crank that thing on all the time or turn all the way off or whatever. And that's where I can physically give you things to do to improve it. But if you can pair in some of the emotions, it's like we're both going down the same, so we're going to have much quicker results than just one or the other. Yeah. It's like there's great merits with the mental side of it, emotion side of it, great merits with the physical side of it. But when you have both, it's like it's win-win. Like everyone's winning, everyone's moving forward.
Yeah, I love it. This is so cool, connecting and pairing with each other. I think that's awesome. Well, I'm so grateful for our time together here.
Absolutely, thank you.
And we'll come on again where we can share some other, maybe like explore some of the ways that you work and what it might look like when somebody's working with you. 100%. And you can ask me questions too. We'll go back and forth, but I'm so grateful. So we'll have information on how you can find Tommy. He is in Rancho Santa Margarita, but you also do stuff like online, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff online as well, yes.
Okay, so can you throw your website? Go ahead and say it.
Yeah. I use a training platform called Train Heroic. Okay. So I don't have a direct website. Okay. But we'll get my information on the post here, so you can reach out to me and we can connect and see what the best way I can serve you is.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.